Well, I just want to welcome everyone to the Cleansing and Nurturing the Body and Mind panel discussion. We're so happy that you're here and hope that you take away a lot from these experts. You've got the best in the business right here. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, if you don't mind. First, we'll start with ladies first. Right here, to my left is Anna Getty. Anna Getty is the author of the cookbook, Easy Green Organic, and the Eco Lifestyle book, I'm Dreaming of a Green Christmas. She's also a food activist, educator, and an executive documentary film producer. She's the executive producer of the PBS Food Forward series by Greg Roden. She's also executive produced Kiss the Ground about regenerative farming practices and fantastic fungi on Paul Stamets and the power of mycelium. Anna's love and understanding of healthy eating developed over 6 years as she worked as a chef's assistant to renowned chef and restaurateur Akasha Richmond. Anna was also a Kundalini, I believe it is, yoga teacher. Great, all around. For 14 years at the former Golden Bridge Studios in Hollywood. That was I used to go there. That was a great yoga studio, by the way. While there, she helped facilitate healing cleanses while also helping to prepare a meal service. She also focused on prenatal and women's yoga during half of their time there. She even produced and starred in the Divine Mother pre- and postnatal yoga workout series. Anna has also been an avid blogger over the years, focusing on health and living, sustainability, pregnancy, and parenthood. And has also served on numerous boards, including the Organic Center for Education, Healthy Child, Healthy World, the Environmental Working Group, and the board of 5 Gyres, which is a nonprofit educating the public about keeping plastic out of our ocean, which is a very good cause. I'm glad you're part of that. Anna is very impassioned by food and nutrition and continually educates herself about all facets of healthy living. So we're glad to have you here, Anna. Next is Martin Tobias. Martin's got a very seasoned background. Martin Tobias is a serial entrepreneur and venture capitalist. He's a recognized leader in technology and early stage investing. Martin has been an early investor in many fast growing markets, including digital media, clean tech, and consumer internet. Recently, Martin has focused on the emerging intersection of healthcare, technology, fitness, and the transformation economy as an investor and entrepreneur. In June 2017, Martin became CEO of Bulletproof Labs directly in the middle of this massive intersection. Bulletproof Labs is the world's first human upgrade center for the mind and body. Proprietary protocols utilize the latest science-backed technology in physiology and neurobiology to deliver superior quantifiable recovery and performance results in less time. Martin led Imperium Renewables as a major investor, and the CEO and chairman from 2005 to 2008. Under his leadership, the company grew sales from zero to over $80 million, raised over $240 million in equity, and scaled their technology to build the largest biodiesel refinery in the world at Grays Harbor, Washington. Martin is a recognized leader in renewable energy across investment banks, private equity, and the analyst community. He has over 20 years' experience as a principal investor. He's also been a venture partner and has invested in over 4 dozen startups across technology and clean tech. In 2004, he founded the Element 8 Clean Tech Investor Network and continues to serve on its board of directors. Martin has spent 15 years in operating roles in technology companies. Prior to Ignition, Martin spent 15 years in operating roles in technology companies as well. He received his bachelor's degree in marketing and computer science from Oregon State University. Martin and his companies have been profiled in numerous media outlets, including Newsweek, Businessweek, NPR, Wired, Cairo TV, CNBC, and many more. He holds 2 technology patents, and he also starred in the 1998 motorcycle documentary, Biker Dreams, and is involved in a number of charities through the Martin Tobias Foundation, and even finds time to blog at deepgreencrystals.com. You need to find time to sleep, because this is a lot.
I do.
I don't know how you do it all. You are inspiring to all of us.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to have them shorten that up next time.
Right. And last but not least, Mr. Charles Haston. Charles is the founder and CEO of Rebel Labs, Inc. He's a longtime athlete and a former Marine who is on a mission After years of struggling with his weight, Charles' breaking point came when he hit 297 pounds in August of 2017. The weight gain was no longer just about aesthetics. Coupled with his family's history of type 2 diabetes and heart disease at the age of 31, Charles realized his life was in danger. Always the action taker, Charles decided to tackle the problem head on, but as he dove in, he faced three troubling realizations. First, proper nutrition that is way more complicated than it seems. Second, most weight loss solutions are absurd fad diets that don't bring lasting results. And third, the very sources we were supposed to trust are the worst perpetrators of bad science. So in this maze of information and web of lies, a regular guy that wanted to lose weight and keep it off really had no chance. The health and fitness industry needed a rebellion, so Charles to the rescue. He left a successful finance and real estate career behind and created the company that he and so many others really needed, Rebel Labs. Now he's leading that community of committed individuals who are arming themselves with the knowledge and confidence to spread the truth about how to create a healthy lifestyle. No fads, no trendy diets, no miracle cures. His company, Rebel Labs, is driving a research-based revolution to buck the status quo and transform the way we think about health forever. So you guys have got the best up here. So I'm just gonna, because we're kind of short on time, I'm just gonna dive straight into the questions if you guys don't mind. So the health and wellness industry has really skyrocketed, and everyone from Weight Watchers is changing its name to try to incorporate wellness that works. You've got cities like Austin and Palm Springs really focusing on the wellness part of travel now because they see that wellness tourism is skyrocketing. What do you guys think the sudden interest is in this whole health and wellness craze?
Well, I can start. Mostly it's because the traditional both healthcare and fitness industry has completely failed us. If you look at some statistics that really pissed me off, if you look at Americans' gym membership, roughly 14% of Americans are a member of some kind of gym. Less than 1 out of 4 of them use it, which means less than 4% of Americans actually go to a gym. And and obesity rates in America are growing faster than gym memberships. So that whole area of fitness that was supposed to keep us from being obese is not working. It's failing. And then if you look at the healthcare side of it, basically we have a medical system that was designed for acute care, for problems that, once people got sick. It was never ever designed to keep us fit and well. And the insurance industry doesn't do that. Nobody pays for it. Doctors aren't paid for it. The average American spends less than 12 minutes a year with their doctor. And if you're depending on the doctor to keep you well, that system is also failing. So I think more people are just realizing that the two systems that were supposed to keep us well, fitness and healthcare, aren't doing it. So they have to find a new way.
Okay. Anna?
So in addition,
Sorry about that.
disease is up. Like cancer levels are up, pediatric cancer levels are up, diabetes, obesity. I mean, you name it, everything is worse. And thankfully with the internet and with the information that's out there, all of us are becoming, in some ways, experts, but at the same time not.
Right.
But the possibility to educate oneself and to, in essence, take a preventative approach, I think is what people are really focusing on more and more.
Yeah, we're seeing that. Charles, do you have anything to?
I mean, I think what you're seeing with the proliferation of exercise tourism and things like that is really just a response to what's taken place in this country with obesity, and it's that people are really trying everything that they possibly can at this point, right? People are desperate. The solutions that are out there are as broken as the problem, so people continue to try more and more diets and fads and exercise programs, and none of these things ever work. Right. So when you see this huge industry that continues to have so much innovation, right, and so many new companies like mine, for example, coming online, it's really a response to the fact that nobody's figured out how to solve this problem for us yet.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about superfoods. People throw that around a lot. I'm kind of really tired of it. I know it's a buzzword, but even the FDA and governmental agencies haven't really defined it. What is a superfood? We know it probably has a very high number of nutrients, but why do you think it's caught on, and what is it? It seems to be evolving and changing. It's like jelly. You can't nail it to a wall, you know? And I'm just wondering what you think about that terminology that's being thrown around a lot and what it is supposed to mean to the average consumer out there that just wants to buy healthier food.
Well, I think superfoods for a lot of people, it's a fast track to health. You know, it's a shortcut. I mean, there's so many, you know, there's thousands of superfoods, you know, hundreds on the market that are popular, from maca to lucuma to all the different super green powders to, you know, coconut oil. I believe they all have a place in one's diet, but to rest on them as the end-all be-all of the pillar of health, I think is a mistake. And they're also often very expensive.
Yeah.
So again, I think finding what's right and incorporating bits and pieces into your diet is the right approach. Also, chemically, all of our bodies react differently to things.
Yeah.
So one has to be aware of that and experiment with that, and again, educate yourself about it all. You know, and talk to people like these gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't really like the word superfood. It's actually funny that people are calling sort of natural things like coconut oil a superfood. What does that mean? Does that mean the other food that we're eating is
Yeah.
like Frankenfood is like stupid food? like because most of what we are being sold is not natural, but they're calling the natural stuff the super stuff. So
Right.
the other stuff has got to be really weird. But the reason I don't like that word as much is because it goes to this idea, like he was talking about, that Americans tend to want to believe in, which is that there's one thing.
Right.
There's like a secret pill.
Magic
there's like
bullet.
some magic bullet. Some like the idea of a superfood is that one thing is going to fix all my issues, and that's unfortunately just not the case. We came out of Bulletproof, which is Dave Asprey, and of course he talks a lot about the benefits of good fats in your diet, and has his own idea of spin on a paleo. But if you ask him, he will also say that if you get your DNA tested, roughly 25% of us are natural carb metabolizers, and those people should not be on a paleo diet, should not be on a high-fat diet. So even Dave, who's sitting there telling everybody about the wonders of good fats, will say, go get your data taken. Figure out for yourself what is great for you. The superfoods that are good for me are different than the superfoods that are good for her. They're different than the superfoods that are good for you. So at a place like Upgrade Labs, you can come and get some blood work done, get your biomarkers tested, your biome tested, things like that. The trick is that the superfoods that are good for you are the ones that are appropriate for your biology. And the first thing you got to do is get some data. Don't just ping pong around the latest celebrity fad diet. Get your own data, and then it'll figure it out yourself.
All right.
I mean, I think superfoods moniker, much like most of the monikers that you see thrown around now in foods, is really not about the food itself. It's about a marketing opportunity for a corporation that's trying to exploit you, right? And that's really what it boils down to, is that, we are so desperate as a population now trying to find solutions to this obesity crisis that there's a really great marketing opportunity to exploit our worst tendencies and our weaknesses here. And that's all that labels and monikers like superfoods do, is allow companies to continue exploiting us. You don't need to eat superfoods, right? You need to eat a balanced diet. That's what you need to do. And you need to eat clean, and you need to eat fewer calories than you're actually going to burn. So, and if you have a caloric deficit, you're going to be fine. And if you eat well, you're going to be fine. But arbitrarily seeking out superfoods isn't going to actually make you healthier. You just need balance.
Yeah.
Can I just add
Oh,
one
go
thing
ahead.
to that too?
Go
The
ahead.
other thing with superfoods is most of them are super condensed. And you're now seeing a trend of like maca in cookies, maca in milkshakes, maca in smoothies, maca in, acai bowls. A little maca goes a long way, and it's actually a hormone adjuster. So you don't really want to be messing with that. So it's really, really important to educate yourself about the individual superfood and play with it and not overdo it, because often it's coming from South American countries, Asia, where
Right.
it's only used in small amounts. not, to be massive scoopers into your smoothie every day.
Right. Speaking of healthy food, I want to talk about the fact that something I don't really see changing well. We all know that eating healthier is better, but the chief complaint that has always been out there is that healthy food is expensive. Organic food is expensive. Even if you want to eat well, if you don't have the money, it makes it that much more challenging. And I'm wondering if the health and food industry has gotten better at solving that problem, because I hear that all the time from just about everybody. It's pricey.
Disease is also pretty expensive.
But quick comeback.
I don't know. It is, companies have been selling us this bad trade. If you look at what happened, one of the things Dave talks about, there was some pseudoscience back in the 80s that said trans fats are worse for you than sugar. So as a country, we made this trade where we went for tons of processed sugar stuff instead of fats. And we gave up the fats in our diets in exchange for sugar. It turned out to be an incredibly bad trade long-term health-wise for us. But it was something that the corporations could make cheaply and make a ton of money on. The best thing that can happen for the more healthy thing is for places like this to keep talking about it, people to keep writing about it. Because if you look at the beginning of the organics movement, organic anything was really expensive probably 15 years ago, but now you can get it at Walmart. So it is really about talking about the right alternatives, and then getting those scaled up, and cost in the long run takes care of itself, I think.
Yeah. Good point, of course.
I think there's plenty of data that shows that's false, right? I mean, I think that if you're comparing eating McDonald's to eating at Whole Foods, maybe, but in general, you can absolutely seek out healthy meat and vegetables and eat at half the price of eating fast food.
In the long run, you just have to be choicey about what kinds of foods you're...
Well, sure, and it also starts with where you shop, right?
of course. Yeah.
Go to your local grocery store instead of Whole Foods.
Well, there are also people using technology to innovate to get cleaner stuff to your table faster. A friend of mine in Seattle, plug for him, started this company called Crowd Cow. And the idea of Crowd Cow is to crowdsource direct from farmers organic grass-fed beef. And there's roughly 60% margin between the farmer and buying it at Whole Foods. If you sell it direct from the farmer, just simply through a butcher, people can save about 30%. So they're actually using a technology platform to disintermediate Whole Foods and allow people to buy direct from the farmers. These direct-to-farm technology things are going to fundamentally change the cost economics for a lot of these higher, more expensive things by changing the supply chain and allowing people to buy direct. That company in particular, they're just crushing it right now. They can't get enough cows.
Wow. Okay. The age-old question, what's more important, what you eat or exercise?
I'll take that one. So for me, when I hit 297 pounds, that was a real breaking point for me for a lot of reasons, but mostly because of the fact that I had lost more than 30 pounds on 3 separate occasions before that. Right. I mean, I was an endurance athlete when I was in high school. I was on track to be a collegiate rower. I gave that up to become a Marine. And exercise had been such a huge part of my whole life. So when I started gaining weight, exercise was the obvious solution. And it was what the federal government was saying was the solution. It was what Big Food was saying was the solution. It was what everybody said was the solution. And the same thing would kind of always happen to me. I'd join a CrossFit box or a gym. I'd work out like crazy for 2 or 3 months. And then I'd get hurt because you cannot outwork a bad diet no matter how hard you work out. It starts in the kitchen. And if you can't find a way to get control over what you're putting into your body and take control back from Big Food and from fast food companies and really get back in the kitchen and get control over what you're putting into your body, you're never going to solve this problem. I've lost 60 pounds, and for the last 3 months, it hasn't been because of exercise. I tore my rotator cuff. I've been the one person in this country that's proved that you can actually lose weight by watching other people exercise. it's all about diet. It's not about exercise.
So it's like, a lot of people say it's like 90% diet, 10% exercise. You agree with that, or?
Well, the research that I've read is more like 80-20 than 90-10. So
okay.
I've read 6 or 7 studies. It's about 80% what you eat, 20%. Because at the end of the day, the basal metabolic rate of most people is, about 80% of their calories during the day, and you can only work out, even if you work out and spend 800 calories, you're only expending roughly 20% additional calories during
Right.
the day than your basal metabolic rate. So, that's also the reason why, frankly, the kind of workout matters. If you do strength training and build muscle, muscle increases the basal metabolic rate, so you're going to lose weight faster. So there are different types of exercise activities that can be more efficient at that portion of the weight loss which is happening from exercise. But in my reading of the research, it's about 80-20.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of exercise, can you guys talk a little bit about the role it plays in just kind of recalibrating and recharging the body? I mean, a lot of people think of it more as a weight loss tool or just kind of a stabilizing to make sure you don't gain weight type of tool, but it really does a lot for the mind as well. And I don't know if you guys want to talk about the role of how the exercise really helps the mind and focusing and everything, even when you're not exercising. If you know just an hour of even exercising or cardio or something goes a long way the rest of the day.
Yeah, it can. And at Bulletproof Labs, we have exercises that are physical exercises for your cardiovascular and strength training, but we also have brain training exercises like technology-assisted meditation. We have neural feedback. We have cellular training for your inflammation system. And what we're trying to communicate to people is that fitness in life is more than about your number on the scale and how you look in the mirror. It's about how you show up in life. It's about lowering inflammation levels. It's about your hormone levels. It's about cognitive function and things like that. And many times, people are focused just on the weight number, and it's really has, your ability to show up in life has a lot more to do with things than how you look in the mirror. And that's what we try to educate people at Upgrade Labs about.
Go ahead.
I mean, there's also the component of things like yoga, which is exercise, but also proven to be a massive stress releaser and reliever. And, in terms of exercise with cardiovascular, there are hormones that are excreted that help balance out the body. So from melatonin to serotonin to dopamines. And so when you're exercising regularly, the body can get, into more balance.
I want to talk a little bit about the role of sleep now. When we're talking about health and wellness, everybody focuses on food or they focus on exercise. But the reality is, if you don't get enough sleep, there's really not a health and exercise program that's going to benefit you 100% if you're not getting enough sleep. So I don't know which one of you guys want to tackle kind of the role of sleep and balancing out a great health and exercise regimen.
It's so critical.
Okay.
The interesting thing is it's not just about the amount of hours that you're in the bed. I'm a total data nerd, so I'm wearing 2 different data tracking devices right now. This one here is a Oura Ring and, of course, the Apple Watch. And it's interesting to see how their sleep tracking is completely different between the 2 of them. But what I notice is that because I look at my sleep stages every night, every day, different activities that I do during the day affect the efficiency of my sleep differently. For example, when I do a cryotherapy session, which freezes yourself to negative 240 degrees, it increases your. It's really great. It's only 3 minutes. You can do anything. You can do anything for 3 minutes. You've done it. You can do anything for 3 minutes. But what happened to me, I was getting roughly 12 minutes a night of deep sleep. Pretty stressed out in the beginning stages of starting the company. I did one cryotherapy session. My deep sleep went to 2 hours and 20 minutes the next night. So I got like a 14x increase in deep sleep. And the deep sleep is where your body is actually doing the recovery. So if you're in bed for 8 hours, but the percentage that you're in deep sleep is greater, you're going to have more of a immune system recovery response. So it's really about productivity of your sleep necessarily more than it is about the time. The other thing I'll notice is that if I go to sleep after like 3 margaritas, I might sleep the same amount of time, but the efficiency of my sleep goes to shit. I have basically no deep and REM sleep, and it's all light sleep. So that's one of the reasons you wake up and feel, not rested, because if you were wearing one of these 2 nerdy devices, you would see that you did not, in fact, get any restorative sleep. So I encourage people to wear some sort of device and track their sleep and start to understand the difference, the relationship between the productivity of your sleep and the activities that you do during the day. What you eat, what you drink, the activities that you do during the day significantly affect your sleep. And what you need is the most efficient, productive sleep, not just hours in the bed.
Yeah, and then there's this thing called sleep hygiene, which is, a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours before, already preparing yourself in terms of not eating after 6 p.m., turning off the blue light on your computer and not, being exposed to that after 6 p.m., making sure that your room is dark, that it's cold, around 68 to 70 degrees. I mean, you can go nuts on the sleep hygiene, but I've found for myself, a program. For me, it includes taking a little bit of CBD oil at night, moving my devices out of the room, charging out of the room, preferably not getting too comfortable with my computer in the bed at night, blue light or not. I've set all my devices to this, what's it called, like the yellow?
You mean you can use flux or to night mode?
Yeah, night mode.
Yeah.
So that is shown to help with brain, and you could probably speak more to that. But that has made a huge difference for me as a light sleeper in terms of quality and productivity.
And Charles, I was going to ask you, since you mentioned, you talked a little bit about your weight loss, did you find that your sleeping patterns improved the more weight you lost?
Yeah, actually, I think it was in reverse order. I think that one of the things that's really nice about all of the data that we were able to actually accumulate today is I've got 5 years of data from scales and from Apple Watches, and bringing all of this data together and aggregating it. What's really nice is be able to do a regression and be able to look back and see that there's actually a direct correlation, or at least a very high correlation, between sleep and certainly quality of sleep too, and my stable ability to actually continue losing weight. Right? When I look at this kind of linear decline in weight that I've had over the last 14 or 15 months here, when I see my upticks where I have my plateaus, or I go up and I gain another 10 pounds after I've lost 20, because of course, like everybody else, has been much of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back process for me. Sleep has definitely been probably one of the primary indicators of whether or not going forward I'm going to continue losing weight or not. When my sleep has declined to 4 hours a night, my weight gain starts going up instead of down.
So there is a connection to that. Let's talk a little bit about immunity. There's so many things out there in the market that promise tons of things that they don't deliver on. We all know that. But when it comes to like kind of boosting your immunity, is there something out there that people can do? And take. There's so much, but besides sleep, are you seeing anything out there in terms of technology or even foods that are better at helping us kind of boost immunity, which is what a lot of people want?
Well, I just mentioned the thing about cryotherapy. Cryotherapy, the way it works is it shocks your body into thinking you're going to die. And but it's only 3 minutes, so you don't die. So it's like but you think your sympathetic nervous system thinks you're going to die. So it turns off your immune system, and then it turns it back on. It's like a Control-Alt-Delete-Reset button for your immune system. And then it comes back on stronger, and it runs around and fixes any kind of, it basically turns your immune system on faster. And if you do it after you did like a weight workout, that's why pro athletes use it a lot, because if you do it after a game, like a soccer game or football game, you're basically recovered and able to work out harder the next day faster, because your immune system went into overdrive and fixed the damage from the workout faster than it would have if it was just taking its own sweet time. So I've found cryotherapy to be an amazing thing for immune system. The other issue is to get toxins out of your body faster.
Yeah.
And one of the things I found that really helps for that is every time after I get off a plane, I go get an IV and get a 2,000 milligram glutathione push to increase the
Really?
detoxification. Yeah, getting toxins out of your body as fast as you can using things like glutathione and structured water are really important.
Just to add to that, I do a 10 pass of ozonating my blood,
Really?
which, also deals with pathogens in the blood, parasites, bacteria, and it makes a huge difference. I mean, I have 4 children, and they get sick and all the time.
I'm surprised you can stay well
And
with 4 kids.
No, I mean, I don't. But
Okay,
this
yeah.
has been the thing that for me has been a game changer.
Wow.
So I do that a few times a year, and it
That's
just
great.
goes right by me. And I finish with the glutathione because otherwise you can oxidize your blood as well. So there's so many interesting things to help.
All right. What about you, Charles? What's your go-to?
Yeah, I'm probably going to end up finding myself as one of the most hated people in this entire industry because I absolutely have this problem with the fact that we have this paradigm that exists right now that we have on one side big food that is funding almost all of the nutrition research in this country, which is obviously part of the problem. And then on the other side, in fitness and nutrition, we have an industry that has no vested interest in actually investing in the science to actually validate anything.
Right.
Right? There's a lot of money to be made when there's ambiguity in the science. So we have nobody in the center here that's really actually focused on being the neutral arbiter of information. So whether it's technology or foods or whatever it is, I have no idea what the solutions are, and frankly, nobody else does either, right?
Or it
Because-
seems to change
well,
every day.
right. And there are no simple solutions. There are no tech solutions to this. There's nothing. It's really quite simple. It is, we don't know everything about our bodies. Nutrition science is really hard and it's really nuanced. And we just kind of have to accept it that each one of us is going to be different from the other person. And we're going to have to, this is trial and error, right? What works for me isn't going to work for other people. Right. Now, I've found my own strategies trying to figure out how to lose weight and how to keep it off. It hasn't been easy, and it's been 7 years of trial and error trying to find something that actually worked. But until we actually find ourselves in a position where companies are forced to actually invest in the science to validate what they're selling, I'm just never willing to get up here at the microphone and start promoting superfoods or tech solutions to something that hasn't been validated.
All right, that's good to know. Well, we talked a lot about what doesn't work. Lastly, if you guys can just tell us, is there something out there that is working that you like that people should try or read or look to in the health and wellness industry, exercise industry, any of those things? We know it doesn't work, and what's a lot of just kind of hubbub, not really science, but if you guys have something that you think works.
Well, there's one compound. I know it hasn't been tested double-blind by the FDA. But one of the reasons, just to respond to that a lot of this stuff doesn't get research is because it's not proprietary. You can't patent glutathione. Glutathione's a naturally occurring substance. So only because, the only things that get the research are things that people can patent and make $1 billion off of. And so the entire system is set up against a lot of naturally occurring compounds that can't be patented. So I don't put those compounds under the bus just because they can't be patented. And there is one compound that I knew absolutely nothing about a year ago, and that is incredibly important in all cellular function, and it's called NAD. And if you guys have never tested your NAD levels, at Upgrade Labs we've started to do a lot with NAD precursors and NAD supplementation. But NAD is a coenzyme in 3 different cycles in the body, most notably the Krebs cycle that creates ATP, and I notice half of you are asleep already. But the bottom line is it is a coenzyme that makes all cells work better. It's like oil in a gas engine. If you don't have any oil in your gas engine, you pour gas and air in there, the engine will run for a while until it seizes up and it dies. And that's exactly what happens to our cells if you do not have correct NAD levels. And NAD levels are like hormones in that they are optimized around in your 20s and go down naturally every year. If you drink a lot of alcohol or eat a lot of opiates, which I'm sure none of you do, your NAD levels will be degraded faster. And NAD, and if you've ever heard of the product Elysium Basis, that's the new sort of longevity supplement that everybody's taking. The core component of that is a thing called NR, which is a precursor to NAD, and 100% of the science behind that supplement is about increasing your NAD levels. You're going to read, if you haven't already heard about it, tons and tons of more research around NAD. And NAD levels and the importance of NAD for correct cellular function. It's a coenzyme that helps basically every cell in your body work better. And I would encourage people to start to research a little bit about NAD.
Wonderful.
I mean, the two things that I personally believe in are vitamin D with K2. It's been shown, I mean, that they're doing science on a lot of studies on reducing all kinds of cancers, mainly breast cancer. And then I'm a big believer in CBD oil, with THC, without THC. I have friends who are making it, handcrafted out of Ojai. There are big companies who are doing it. The FDA just passed a epilepsy drug in April. I really believe in it. I see it used topically on my son, on his eczema. It goes away. I suffer from anxiety and depression at times, and it helps with that for me. It also helps with sleep. So whatever, I know that we have the cannabinoids in our body, and this CBD links up with that and helps inflammation and healing. So they are doing more and more science on that, but what I'm seeing with my friends who are, administering it to people with cancer, their pain levels are going down and things are shifting. Like my one friend is helping, this child with brain cancer who they said would be dead within a year, and 3 years later, this child is thriving with CBD oil with THC in it. So those are my two go-tos.
Lastly, Charles?
I think what's worked most for me and what I've really found is that our bodies respond to consistency. Consistency is the most important thing here. You have to be consistent in your focus on your diet. You have to not only consistently get quality sleep, but sleep at the same time every night. You need to eat at the same time every day, right? Just like many of the women in the audience are probably familiar with the fact that your doctor tells you to take your birth control at the exact same time every day for it to be the most effective. Giving your body the ability to predict when you're going to be eating and when you're going to be sleeping and the type of food that you're going to be putting into your body really puts your body in a place where it can actually find some balance.
Well, thank you to our panel. I'd like to open it up to the audience if you guys have any questions for them at all. Anyone? We'll start with you in the green.
Yeah, you can. We do plenty of blood tests down there at Bulletproof Labs, which we're down in Santa Monica. We actually announced yesterday, this is Digital Hollywood, the Hollywood Reporter announced that we are opening our second location in Beverly Hills, which will be inside the Beverly Hills Hilton. But we can do all of the blood testing for you there, or there are other places. Quest is a blood test lab that you can, but you need a doctor's order to go to Quest.
Wonderful.
Understanding your body, your own individual needs and what it needs. I mean, I think all three of us, that's a takeaway for me.
Yeah, definitely. Young lady right up front.
My question is for Ms. Jennifer. So curious what type of solution you have developed to address your difficulty in losing weight and how you are bringing that to market.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I quit my job in private equity after hitting 297 pounds to launch the health and fitness company that not only I felt I desperately needed to exist to create a 360 solution, but that millions of others did too. So what we're really focused on is building out both a digital media platform that's effectively the Netflix of fitness and nutrition that allows us to distribute yoga content and a nutrition course and a running series with Carl Lewis here pretty soon, and combine that with a more progressive version of MyFitnessPal that isn't regressive, but instead of simply logging your calories, is actually making recommendations on the types of food you should be eating and when you should be eating. And if we can combine both the media and the teaching there with the technology and gamification to really modify behavior, I think that we're going to be in a pretty powerful position to make some great change here.
All right. One last question? Or, who? Oh, we'll go over here in the back. Yeah.
I mean, there's one called CBD Select, which I use, which was recommended through a friend because she had good results. Prime My Body is available in all 50 states. That's a, I think it's a kind of a membership thing, Prime My Body. And then just try it. So, sometimes I just see one that looks interesting and I try it. And generally I'm having the same results with most of them. For me, I really focus also on taste. So if things taste like I have breath like a skunk afterwards or taste like a skunk, there are ones where they're incorporating coconut oil in and peppermint, and those for me are more palatable. And they're doing gummies now. They're doing, I was just at Earth Bar on my way here, and they have CBD water and juices, and kind of just have to explore. It's also like everything else, just saturating the market now.
Go to MedMen, you can have like a Halloween candy basket of CBD.
Well, let's give a hand to Martin, Charles, and Anna. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for coming.